And welcome back, everyone. This comes to us from Adam Trident and Marcus Kane. Believe it or not, they're the ones who gave me the suggestion. What if Ichigo was part Saiyan? Now, there's also the suggestion of what if he was a full Saiyan. That really just can't work in the Bleach universe. Let me explain a little bit. First off, sorry that this took so long to get out. I'm going to make up by doing part 2 tomorrow. It's just things got ahead of me. I tried doing this earlier, and then something happened. By the way, this background, obviously I didn't make this background. It's way too good for me to have made it. This is free wallpaper you can apparently find online. And it's great. And actually, and honestly, for a what if he's a Saiyan, that's a great look. So I like that look for this type of what if. But, so, making Ichigo part Saiyan poses a very odd issue in the Bleach universe. Now, with other mangas and shonen animes from, say, Naruto, obviously Dragon Ball, I'd say you could make the logical argument that aliens could exist in My Hero, those kind of things. Even Jujutsu Kaisen, you could make that argument. Bleach is not one of those manga or anime that really logically has aliens in it. It can have alien races in it. The reason for that is very simple. Because it's based on spirituality. Yeah, man, I'm struggling on that word. Spirituality. But the spiritual worlds, dimensions, all that. It's not a world that we've never had any indication of extraterrestrial life in the Bleach world. We know that the worlds of Bleach are the three primary ones anyway, are Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, and the human world, our world. And that they're all roughly the same size to each other. They're all about equal. And they're all, that in the human world, it's not just the human world. We know that by all accounts, the human world acts the same way ours does, just with the spiritual elements thrown in there, which means there's a sun, there's a moon, there's all the planets, there's a solar system, the galaxy, all that. So there you go. But we just don't know if extraterrestrial life exists in the Bleach universe, how it interacts with the rest of that world. Because if there are other alien races out there, intelligent races, do the Shinigami interact with them? Have we actually met Soul Reapers in the Soul Society who were once other races, like alien races? How does that work exactly? So, the best way, and the only way for me to say he's a Saiyan is for me to have Saiyans in there. But we're only doing what if Saiyans exist, not of what if Frieza or all that, what if they merge. That's not what this is. What if Saiyans existed in this world? So first and foremost, obviously a Saiyan would have had to have made it to Earth. And then he would have had to bred with the human race. Down the line, we would have gotten Ichigo. So Ichigo's to some degree or another part Saiyan. Great. But how is he Saiyan? Where does the lineage come from? Does it come from Ishin or does it come from Asaki? For me, I think it makes more sense that Saiyans intermingled more with the Quincy. This is due to the fact that Saiyans can inherently use Ki, which Ki, Chakra, Ryatsu, spiritual energy, they all kind of are the same thing to a degree, just in just a different label on it. Or at least there's elements of each within them. For instance, there's elements of the spiritual energy in Bleach, like Ryatsu, in Chakra. Chakra is spiritual nature and spiritual energy and physical energy. Ki is, natural life force energy, all that. So you could make an argument Ki is related to Chakra, so forth and so on. Because of the nature of the Quincy's being able to draw on Ryatsu and spiritual energy and Reishi, that made sense to kind of intermingle them there. Okay, great. Wonderful. But where are the Saiyans in the grand scheme of the Bleach universe here? Why have we never really seen more of them? Because Saiyans are conquerors. They flew out and get to the stars. All that goodness. I think, and this is just my thought process, I think the Saiyans had a scenario where it was similar to the Quincy's. And the Shinigami had to wipe them out. Because, like Quincy's, their Ki doesn't... When Hollows were showing up with Saiyan on the Saiyan planet, the Saiyans actually, utilizing Ki, were able to actually hurt them and theoretically kill them. And it was also causing an imbalance. So, unfortunately, they had to get wiped out as well. add on to the fact that theoretically, the reason we maybe never saw any Saiyans within the Bleach universe in terms of like Soul Society and Shinigami is that the majority of Saiyans are terrible pieces of shit. Like, they're warriors, they're conquerors, they're rapers, they're pillagers. They destroy innocents as individuals. So, yeah, honestly, it actually makes a lot of sense that the Saiyans would not have gone to, say, Hueco Moon, would have gone to Soul Society. Or they might have, because honestly, they probably would. Maybe they started to go, and then they all kind of wound up in Hueco Mundo. We know terrible people can make it to the Soul Society, but it is noted that the Zanpakuto can only cleanse the spirit of something, of a hollow, that they do as a hollow. Otherwise, they go to hell. That's basically what it is. And so they've either gone to hell or they went to Hueco Mundo, the majority of them. However, there's logical scenarios you could say where a couple Saiyans, which we know not all Saiyans were pricks. A chunk of them were, but they weren't all pricks. Like, Bardock is actually stated to not be a bad Saiyan. Neither was his wife, Gine. Obviously, Goku wasn't a bad individual either. Broly's actually inherently nice Saiyan, just has rage issues. Vegeta learned to be a decent dude. So, like, not every Saiyan's a complete prick, but still, if you're thinking of, like, where Saiyans kind of ultimately ended up, you could make the argument someone like Kenpachi theoretically could be a Saiyan because it's just he's that OP in his universe. That the reason for his excess strength is that his soul was a reincarnation of a Saiyan soul. That's basically it. Which would make, really, when you think about it, make a lot of sense. So, there's that. But how much of a Saiyan is Ichigo? Because, obviously, the question a lot of people are going to want, and the thing that a lot of people are going to want to see is Super Saiyan Ichigo. And I will say this. Ichigo has a pretty diluted bloodline, but we've seen with GT, with Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., that even if you go pretty far down the bloodline, for example, Goku's pure Saiyan, Gohan is half Saiyan, Pan is quarter Saiyan. We know Pan obviously had a kid, a child, mother or son, I don't know, they never say. So that child would be an 8th Saiyan, and then Goku Jr. is, I believe, her grandson. So that is a 16th Saiyan, and he can still go Super Saiyan. So we know you can dilute the bloodline quite a bit and still go Super Saiyan. So, yeah, he inherited from Misaki. He can go Super Saiyan, and this is a big thing I'll touch on a little later on, and we'll delve more into it when we get into the later parts of the series. By the by, I was thinking of doing this arc to arc, but we'll see what happens. I'm guessing I'm getting at least 2 to 4 chapters parts out of this particular what if. First off, we know when he would have activated Super Saiyan. It would have been when his mother was killed by Grand Fisher. But because at that point in time, even though he definitely has a higher Ryatsu like level or higher spiritual level than most humans around him, he's still not like strong enough to really be registering on the meter for a lot of them. It would have been an energy spike that say the Shinigami and other individuals would have sensed, but then it would have quickly disappeared as he faded away and he blacked out. And he honestly would probably suppress this memory and knowledge that he had Super Saiyan because it would have been a traumatic event for him. Ichigo would go throughout his life pretty much the same, except he's far more capable than a normal human being. We already know he has a decent level spiritual energy for a human. And as a Saiyan, he's already physically way more powerful than any human around. Beyond that, he does not have access to Ki because it's just not something he would normally learn. Even though it's something he could technically inherently do. Ki, Ryatsu, we're going to call them the same thing. Whatever term I use for that, it means the same thing. He has not had anyone to teach him, but that maybe at some point you could inherently figure it out. Probably more when he gets some actual training under his belt. His days would go about the same, including when we meet him in the original, where he teaches those boys a lesson for messing up the girl's gravesite. Nothing would really change until he meets Rukia. She puts him into the Keto Bind, which initially he can't get out of, but here he has a lot of easier time getting out of. And to the point where they go down to find the Hollow. He's like, no, you're going to damage yourself. Shut up. And as he's powering up, he's also got like an aura of Ki, Ryatsu around him. Just, bah! And then he just squares off with the Hollow. He's like, fight me one-on-one, you bastard! And Rukia's like, no, you fool! Only for him to quickly disappear. It's like, wait, what? And he just, boom! Smacks the hollow straight in the face. And the hollow goes flying for a good couple dozen meters. Like, Argh! He's like, let's go! And the hollow can't hit him. Ichigo's way too small, fast, and powerful enough to block the strike that the hollow is like, what the hell? And Rukia is watching. He's like, what the? How can a human be going toe-to-toe with a hollow like that? He just cracks one of the teeth. But unfortunately, Ichigo lacks an ability to actually kill a hollow. To which then the hollow then tries to attack. Says, I got you! And then he gets smacked back. He gets up, only for the hollow to come in. That's when Rukia comes to save him. Slices the hollow's face, even cuts off a hand. Rukia is like, you fool! You think I don't know how you were able to fight that hollow, but you think you could have killed him? You had nothing to kill him. You don't have a Zanpakuto, nothing. You think one soul satisfies him? Doesn't satisfy him for long. He's like, I don't have my, and I can't move. But just for a short time, you're gonna have to take on my power. It's like, then give me that sword, Shinigami. Soul Reaper. My name is Rukia Kuchi, and my name is Ichigo Kurosaki. And obviously, he turns into Saiyan Shinigami Ichigo, and pretty much just one-shots the hollow in this version. Because unlike before, his strength is enhanced, so he can actually just manhandle that sword without too much difficulty. The majority of the Agent of the Shinigami arc would actually go about the same. He'd have a little bit of a breezier time with most of the scenarios that happened in the Agent arc. With the exception of Grand Fisher. Grand Fisher, he'd still get psychologically screwed over thanks to Grand Fisher imitating his mom. But he would quickly make sure to teach Grand Fisher a serious lesson. As in this version, instead of just gouging his shoulder, he takes off his entire arm without too much difficulty, but then starts to bleed out. It's like, ah! It's like, get back here! Ugh! And he just kind of, boom, is done. And obviously, remember, being part Saiyan means that he will get access to Zenkai. So Ichigo is improving. Of course, Ichigo technically kind of has Zenkai because he kind of keeps improving as the whole series goes along. Although that could just be like in exponential growth factor because he doesn't technically have a cap to his potential. That being said, the biggest differences come near the end of, let's call it Season 1, the Agent of the Shinigami arc, where him and Uryu have the dick measuring contest that Uryu started because he's so well endowed. No, but seriously, Uryu, this is all your fault. They did point it out in that series. I'm going, this was your fault. And so he, obviously the Menos Grande comes in. Ichigo goes in, squares off with him. And instinctually, he's just like, his hair starts to go up. And briefly, he goes Super Saiyan, and unlike before where he greatly injures the Menos Grande, here it's boom and just he's cut clean in half, and the Menos Grande just what the hell? It's like, my, he really is something, isn't he? He's quite a scary kid, this Ichigo. I win! And what's with this? And he's not in Super Saiyan, mind you, but his hair briefly went into Super Saiyan. And obviously his ki still fluctuates. Uryu helps him out. Then the confrontation with Renji and Byakuya come in. He, once again, kind of beats the snot out of Renji even more effectively in this version. Then Byakuya comes and completely manhandles him. Even though he's better and faster in this version, he still couldn't take on Byakuya because he doesn't have control over Super Saiyan. This leads us now into the training with Urahara. And this is where things really start to change up a bit. First and foremost, Uryu versus Ichigo. We know Uryu could it's not Uryu. Is it Uryu? No, Uryu is the oh god, it's Uryu. Oh god, what is her name? The little girl. Why Uryu? It's almost the same as Uryu. That's the problem. Hold on, I'm gonna find her name because it's bugging the hell out of me, honestly. Like, how is her name pronounced? Because it's Uryu for Uryu is Shida. What is her name? Okay. Uru, it's something. Uru. Okay, hold on. I'm looking that up right now because I don't want to keep using the wrong name. Uru. It's really annoying. Let's see here. Uru. See, Uryu has a Y in it. It's Ruyyu, I believe. Uru is Ru. You are you. You are you. Jesus. Okay, so yeah, she actually was gonna whoop Ichigo's ass the minute he cut her. Here, when they're fighting, he's actually pretty okay, like handling her pretty much. Like his physicality is far above the Ichigo that was fighting her, and so unfortunately he just tagged her and cut her. Fortunately, this time though, he is able to react, and he actually he still gets knocked on his ass, but still he's able to react. Oh, that's impressive. Norio has the ability, the skill here to take on full-fledged Soul Reapers, but I must admit, I didn't know. Oh, sorry, I went to Kisuke's page on the Bleach Wiki. I didn't know he was 6 foot tall. He's actually pretty tall. One of the taller members of the Shinigami, to be fair. So yeah, it's like, all right, I'm ready for the next one. And so I was like, all right, begin the next journey, next test. Some hole. I do my best. And so Ichigo is obviously the encroachments are coming in. He's trying to get out of there. And I can't remember, did they bind his hands during that test? It's been a while since I've rewatched that arc. I think they bound his arms, didn't they? I believe so. So anyway, he's struggling to get out. He still can't get out. And then he starts to turn into a hollow, but he's fighting it off. He talks to old man Zangetsu. Now, before anyone asks, would he still even have the same Zanpakuto? For the sake of easier storytelling, yes. And I think mostly because being a Saiyan, like biologically, doesn't really factor into his soul, I think. Yeah, he's got the Saiyan heritage, certainly. But I don't know if that would really factor in here. Maybe like when you see like it goes into like say Tensa Zangetsu, it takes more of a gi-like approach. Like he doesn't even have the sleeves this time. He has more like a fighting gi, and like so maybe aspects of that translate through. But I don't think being a Saiyan, at least in this case, changes who he is as a person, as an individual, which is what your Zanpakuto ultimately is a reflection of. So he ultimately still finds it the same way, but beyond that, when he winds up out of back in the real world with his Shinigami outfit, Hollow Mask on, his hair is gold. He's like, my, that's some power you got there, Ichigo. And Urahara's like, oh, he's a lot stronger than I thought. And so Ichigo is trying to knock Urahara's hat off. Ichigo's also, his power is like, he's so slow. Now, granted, this is where having something like Super Saiyan in Bleach is a complete, not ass pull, that's not the right term I'm looking for, is a complete curb stomp in many ways. Because we know the multipliers on Super Saiyan, and we know comparatively where Ichigo stood at first. Ichigo was at minimum, at that point, a high lieutenant level fighter. As the Soul Society arc went on, he became around a captain level fighter right around the time of Kenpachi. So you multiply a lieutenant level fighter by 50 times. And I mean, there's no gauge on, there's, unlike say with the Daizenshu for Dragon Ball, where we had actual power levels and multiplication and all that, there is no Daizenshu for Bleach. There is no power ranking in the traditional sense. We don't say Yamamoto's a 1 billion level power fighter, whereas, Uru is a 2,000 level fighter. We don't have anything like that. So it's hard to kind of gauge a lot, especially because, it's very likely that captains, even a low-level captain to lieutenant, there's probably a multiple times difference in levels of power between characters on the low-ball side of things. Byakuya, if we compare Soul Society Byakuya to Soul Society Renji real quick, first off, Byakuya could beat Renji even when he uses this Bankai, which is stated to be between a 5 to 10 times multiplier. We know that Renji had just gotten the Bankai, so it's probably more like 5, allegedly. We know that that wasn't even his real Bankai. And we know that's just a general rule, but very powerful Bankai, say like Yamamoto's, Genpachis, Toshiras, like the super powerful ones, are probably even greater multipliers than the 10 times. Which is no clear-cut evidence for that, but we definitely have examples in the manga that kind of hint at that. But yeah, like the difference between like Soul Society Renji and Soul Society Byakuya is probably in the magnitude of tens of times, easily. So like it's not hyperbole to say that Ichigo, while still immensely powerful, still would actually get clapped by some of the higher level captains of the Soul Society at this point in time. Now, you do that, you give him Super Saiyan, and then as he keeps getting stronger and stronger, okay, now you're getting into levels of power where it's like, okay, he might just be the most hacks motherfucker before the 1,000 years blood work even happens. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So Ichigo has gone Super Saiyan, and he's finally like, he remembers this feeling. I remember this feeling. I gotta remember this feeling so I can save her. And he's pushing Urahara back. Urahara being one of those captains where I think he is one of those captains that even though Ichigo is 50 times stronger, he is still able to keep Ichigo very much at bay. Granted, having to actually take him very seriously to do so. So, you know, he's activates Benihime. He actually is activating Benihime's abilities, like say his Blood Mist Shield. I think he's even willing to use. Oh God! Actually, luckily I literally had to get Kisuke's bio up here so I could find Uru's name. And that's it. It's Uru. It's not Uryu. It's Uru. Almost like Ularu, like the rock in Australia. The name, which one of my favorite techniques of Benihime is, where was it? Come on. Because Benihime is arguably my favorite Zanpakuto, which I believe is a question asked in the Q&A, but we'll get to that again. Shibari Benihime, where he even uses that. So he uses Shibari Benihime, where he binds Ichigo in that, and Ichigo can't get out. It's like, well, or Ichigo is just barely trying to get. It's like, he's trying to break the energy. Well, I can't have you doing that, Ichigo. Hisobe Benihime Juzusunagi. Or playing with fire Benihime, Princess Beaded Mesh. And it just kind of blows Ichigo up. And luckily Ichigo's alive. It's like, and thanks to the durability enhancement of Super Saiyan, but he's now out of Super Saiyan, just and he can't really activate again. He's just running low on energy. He's like, now you've gotten out of that pesky state. Let's see if you can keep up with the big boys, Ichigo. And just Shumpo's behind him. Just, he's really gonna kill me. I'm gonna die. And then he talks to the Zangetsu. No, say my name, Zangetsu. Well, you finally unlocked it. Now let's the real fight begins. Don't take this the wrong way, Mr. Urahara, but I hope you dodge this. What? Because I can't control it yet. What? Granted, Ichigo's not in Super Saiyan form, because otherwise, as he put it, if I hadn't put my Blood Mist Shield up, I would have lost an arm there. You're one scary kid, Ichigo. I do believe you killed my hat. That wasn't very nice. I love Urahara. Benihime is literally sitting right there. Like it's one of only 2 Zanpakuto I actually have. It's I've shown Benihime off before, but I love Benihime. I got this as Christmas gift from my girlfriend one year. I have Tensa Zangetsu sitting on the rack over here as well. But yeah. So it ends ultimately with everyone going to the Soul Society. And that is where we're going to leave things off here in the part 1. I'll do part 2 tomorrow, along with part 3 of Naruto having One for All. And obviously we have the Pokemon video tomorrow, and we have the box office video tomorrow. I'm not expecting much for the box office tomorrow. I'm to next week, this coming week, Dune part 2. Can't wait for that. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks for the next one. Have a good one.